Hello. Thank you everyone for joining. Again, good morning, good afternoon, and very good evening to everyone who has joined us from different parts of the world, from different time zones. This is the second event, LinkedIn Live event that we are having for product Acers for 2022. SaaS has been a great, innovative space for last couple of years. So many startups, so many new innovations are happening in SaaS, and it has been very revolutionary. And so today we have, a very important guest with us who has a lot of experience in SaaS, especially in the product management, to share a lot of insights and learning and how to be successful product managers in this SaaS space, which is continuously evolving, continuously emerging, and it's being one of the most innovative space. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mohammed Mustafa, who is currently a lead product manager of OpenText in Canada and one of my very good friend. And he is also a Thunderbird, ASU and Thunderbird alumni. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mohammed Mustafa.
Thank you, Sangeeta. Hi, everyone. This is Mohammed. Nice to meet you. I'm very excited to be here today to share about SaaS success, basically criteria and metrics, and how that kind of play a role in any SaaS product manager's life. So I'm gonna start talking a bit about just a bit background about myself. Then I will talk about what is the SaaS and what is the role of a product manager, and then we'll take it a bit deeper to go look at what is the SaaS basically model from the customer journey perspective and from product perspective. And after that, we will look at the success metrics that we use on daily basis as a SaaS product managers, and what are the tips to improve these basically success metrics on the going market changes and business factors that we consider as product managers. So again, my name is Mohammed Mustafa. I am from Jordan. I spent most of my life in Amman, the capital of Jordan, and I worked in multiple basically countries, mostly in the Middle East, US, and Canada. And currently, I am based in Toronto, Canada. My education, I came from engineering background, and over time I basically gained the business perspective, and a few years back I did my MBA focusing in global strategy. My kind of professional career started in 2010. I started as a telecom engineer, and that's really like what I liked at that stage is I'm a problem solver focusing on technical aspects. But over time, I realized that also, I like to kind of manage tasks and look further into how we can deliver basically bigger basically projects, not only my tasks. So I went towards project management. I enjoyed working with people to deliver basically the breakdown and the tasks of those projects. And at a certain stage, and after I did my MBA, I got a chance to start my own business. It was a kind of an cross-border e-commerce focusing on basically the merchandise side of it. So we let basically websites like Amazon and eBay to be sold anywhere around the world. That was a great opportunity for me. And as a entrepreneur, I wore multiple basically hats in this role, and that kind of what opened my eye towards the direction of product management, where it's kind of the product management and entrepreneurship are very similar in many ways. You are focused on the customer, you are still working with and partnering with engineering teams, solving problems and building things. You are working with the marketing to better understand your customer and how to deliver to them and as well as also focus on the business strategy. So that kind of opened my eye to shift my career later on, after basically I exit my business to focus on product management. And currently I work with OpenText as a lead product manager, as a cloud services basically product manager or product lead here. And what I do is, instead of working with one SaaS product, I work with 14 SaaS products, but all of them, they share the same, let's say, back end, where the from infrastructure, cloud services, also commercialization side of it, where how do you offer all those 14 to the customer in I would say like kind of a SaaS ready offering. So I work on that side currently. I also worked like in as a product manager with other companies too. I worked with Red Cross, I worked with Motorola, and I also worked with Intel Tech in the past too. So that's about me. As I mentioned, I'm gonna start talking about what is SaaS, and um, this is before even talking about this slide. I want to share about SaaS. It stands for software as a service, and this term came from the initial kind of cloud offerings that basically started more than a decade ago, where we had what we call it IaaS, which is basically infrastructure as a service. We have platform as a service, and we have a SaaS as a service. And SaaS is pretty much is kind of on-demand service where the customer doesn't need to bring anything to the table. They are just consuming this service on demand. And the advantage of SaaS for the customers usually is it's on demand. It's focusing on basically operational expenses rather than capex in the B2B business, where basically you only pay for what you consume. You don't need to have, if you think about initially when you used to buy a software, you used to kind of to pay for it like a certain amount of money. You install it in your device. You are responsible about making sure that it's working fine. Whenever you have to upgrades, you will do it on your basically desktop or wherever you are looking at. So all of that kind of eliminated, and now what you do is mostly kind of you need just a kind of a browser, and you can access any software through that basically browser. You don't need to kind of to have anything on your side, and only you pay when you use it. So this is kind of the main idea of the SaaS, but also taking it farther towards product management side of it. So what we do as a product managers here. So mainly our main job is to deliver measurable business results through product solutions that meets market needs and company goals. This is like a quote. I didn't bring it by myself. It's kind of written by Don Vendetti, but it's a really a good reflection of what product managers they do. You build things, you deliver it against business results, and these business results supposed to be also linked to the kind of to the market need and the company goals. And in day-to-day basis, this is pretty much what product managers do. They partner with different kind of cross-functional teams to make sure that at the end of the day we deliver these measurable business results. And looking at product manager and SaaS specifically, so this is like kind of a good illustration provided by another product manager, but I really wanted to kind of use it here because it makes a lot of sense in the SaaS world. So imagine yourself as a kind of a SaaS-based user rather than a product manager, and what you do is usually is you have a basically a problem that you want to solve. You want, for example, let's say you want to calculate your annual taxes, and report them. So you try to find, what is the best, basically offering for you. And based on that, you start using it. And after using it, at some point, you either basically find a better offering at some point you move to, or you stay with the same basically service, or maybe at some point, if you move to another country, like in my kind of case, where that basically service doesn't fit you anymore because it doesn't cover that country, okay, you stop using it. And this is just like, the customer side of it. But when we look at it from the kind of what is product managers doing here, or like, what is the product perspective of it. So this is like, I like this kind of the fish is the customer here. And we have this pool, which is kind of shows me like kind of the size of the kind of customer base and like kind of commercial product that I'm offering. So my goal as a product manager is to bring as much as basically fish as possible in my kind of pool here, and at the same time make sure that I'm growing this fish. So you see this fish is bigger than others. This is kind of a bigger customer that provides a bigger value to me comparing to others. And I also, besides kind of bringing these fish to the pool, I make sure that I'm continuously growing this. And I also, the third thing that I work on is I make sure that I am not losing any fish. They are not leaving my pool, basically. And when we think about it from that perspective, there are some kind of measures to make sure that how much I'm successful in bringing fish, and how much I'm successful in basically growing this pool, and how much I'm successful in reducing the amount of like fish that leaves, or in another term, the customers that leaves my product. So I'm gonna take you through more of what is CAC, which is customer acquisition cost, basically customer lifetime value, and the churn rate in more details here. So similar to how we looked at the basically customer or the pool of the products, how they come to the product, they stay, and then they leave. This is kind of another model used in the SaaS based basically models, or like kind of products today, and it's called the AARR, or like the basically tracking success for the user journey for SaaS products. And it's pretty much kind of covered in those 5 stages. The first one is customer acquisition, and our role as product managers is to make sure that we build the right products to attract and convert those customers. And once those customers are kind of acquired, we make sure that we activate those customers and make sure that they are using this product. And on the fly, the difference between acquisition and activation, usually in acquisition, we try to kind of use different basically tactics to bring those customers, including kind of free trials, basically focusing more on marketing, and make sure that we have the right use case to the customer. And later on here, the customers is basically needs to be activated, which means that they move to a paid customer, and then we make sure that they move to the next stage, which is the revenue. And here our goal is to make sure that we are sustaining those customers, and we also make sure that we are growing the value of those customers by upgrading and expanding. Later on, once the customer kind of is actively using my product, I make sure that I am also getting the advantage of keeping this product, this customer staying on, the kind of spending more ongoing efforts, providing them more service to stay with my kind of service. But also I make sure that I also take advantage of those customers to bring more referrals or more customers as well. And the last stage that also I look at is the retention here, which is I want to make sure that my customers continuously engaged and they are not leaving my kind of product. And when we talk about like kind of those stages, etc., we want to make sure that we are successful in kind of in achieving this funnel that we just looked at. And I really like this basically quote here by Lord Kelvin, saying, "If you cannot measure it, you cannot improve it." As we continuously trying to kind of to make sure that we are bringing more customers, we are trying to keep those customers and increase the value of those customers. We need to make sure that what tactics and features and designs we are building is successful. And in order to make sure that this is successful and we are continuously improving and growing, we need to make sure that we are correctly measuring those aspects. So when we look at, like, for SaaS products, what are those aspects that I want to measure against? Mainly as a product managers, like if I want to also kind of zoom out a bit, what I'm trying to achieve is to grow my product and make sure that this product is profitable. So this is kind of can be split to three main pillars when we look at like our goals here. One is to achieve growth and achieve profitability and achieve basically retention and efficiency in my basically business model. When we look at the growth, we do have the one important factor here is conversion rate, which means how many customers coming to my basically a product, for example, if it's a site or mobile application, and how many I convert them to a customer. The second one is the customer acquisition cost here, like how much a customer cost me to, or like how much a user cost me to become a customer, to become like an ongoing customer. So, and this is very important to check the efficiency of engaging the products and moving them from basically acquisition to activation. How much that cost me as a product manager to bring that customer to my pool. The other basically metrics here is net promoter score, and I will take you a bit more into details how to calculate it. But the main idea of the net promoter score is how to know that my customer is satisfied with my product. Okay. And what is the chance that this product or this customer is gonna leave my product? So net promoter score can give me an indicator there, how to calculate and how to get that sense. The other basically metrics that also important in some of the SaaS products that has especially like trial accounts is what's the trial to paid customers. When I bring customers and offer them like a free tier, I want to make sure that the customer is also converting to become a paid customer to me. So that's also basically take us back to the growth. So this is pretty much kind of the growth main elements. There are many other basically metrics that you can look at, but these I would say like kind of the main ones that are directly connected to your success as a product manager. The other side, I would say, move to here to the profitability, is to make sure that I'm not only growing my users, but also I am, becoming efficient in achieving profitability over time and providing kind of the right value to my company and the other stakeholders as well. So one important kind of metrics here, similar to growth, is customer acquisition cost. Like how efficient I am in bringing these customers to my pool with the lowest basically cost on me. So this is kind of measured on customer acquisition cost. Customer lifetime value is what is the value that a customer will bring in their journey while they are using my kind of product. For all the life that stays, for example, let's assume that a kind of a user stays for 2 years or maybe for 3 months on my product, how much that converted to kind of to a value and dollar amount. Other perspective to look at here is average revenue per acquisition. Whenever I kind of acquiring a customer, what is the average revenue? It's pretty much connected to kind of customer acquisition cost and life value, but also here you are looking at it at a one certain amount of time, like in this month, you want to understand your average revenue versus like, in 2 months from now. And the other basically success metrics that I would consider here is annual run rate. And this is important to look at the projection and the growth of my profitability in the future. For example, if I have today, I know that my revenue or average revenue per acquisition is $5. Okay, how how much that comparing also to how many customers I have will bring me in a year from now. So this is kind of another metrics that we can look at that stage. Retention and efficiency, like after in the kind of beside the growth and profitability, you want to make sure that you are also efficient in bringing customers and making sure that they are valuable to your product, and also making sure that they are not losing them afterwards. So here we are looking at the retention and efficiency, and very important metrics here is churn rate, which means how many customers I'm losing per month comparing to all over customers that I have. And this is a very good indicator to tell me how many on percentage wise I'm losing comparing to how many I'm bringing on. So the other one is lifetime value. We just covered it, but also it's very important to make sure that we are increasing this and continuously feeding more value to the customer, so he will buy more and will stay with us more. Monthly recurring revenue also is an important one from basically a financial perspective, to make sure that I am growing my basically the revenue of my products, how much I'm bringing this month versus the next month. And similarly, revenue churn, how much I'm losing when I am basically having those customers leaving my site. I'll go through the 5 most important metrics out of those, which is conversion rate, customer acquisition cost, net promoter score, and lifetime value, and in more details with more tips to kind of to how we achieve that as a product managers, and how to improve it. And those pretty much the 5 that kind of fit in the other formulas when we talk about, for example, average revenue per cost. It really depends on lifetime value and others. So I'm not gonna cover, I would say, kind of the not basically formulas. I will just focus on the 5 top ones here. So let's start talking about the conversion rate. And as I mentioned, conversion rate is the number of orders that we are basically receiving over how many visitors to our sites, basically, or the number of people who comes and check our products. And this is very important because it also reflects as a product the quality of your product itself, from features, from design, from what is the problems that you are really solving for your customer. Some of the tips that you can look at to make sure that you are all continuously increasing your conversion rate is to understand, to start with, is to understand really that you are solving the problem for the customer. If you see that many customers comes to your site, they check it out and they don't basically buy it or sign up for free trials, this means that either they don't see the value at the end of the day of your product. But also, if you dig deeper, are you solving the right problem for them? And how to know that you are solving the right problem to them. Also, another aspect of it is usually those customers comes if not directly to your site, but they are coming either from a marketing channel, or someone told them about your site, etc. Those channels also, they have a messaging that they promise the customer that they are delivering something when they first check, basically the customer check the messaging. And when they come to the site, they reach another, maybe they don't see that value or the promise on your site. So that the customer is, they don't see that. But if we look at how you can measure this, one way is to kind of to continuously doing interviews, looking at the different discovery channels that you have for the customers to better understand what problems that they want to resolve. Okay. And after you kind of come up with your solution, one of the tips for improvement here is to do A/B testing. And A/B testing is just to make, after you understand the problem, okay, you can come up with multiple solutions to solve this problem, but how to know that which one is really solving the problem for the customer. So you do A/B testing here, which is, and for the people who are not familiar with A/B testing, is just you come up with multiple solutions and you distribute the potential customers over those multiple solutions, or you can actually have all those customers visiting multiple solutions and let the customer decide on which one works for them the best. So this is what's called kind of A/B testing. And just also to give an example, and at like kind of Nasdaq, when which is kind of the cross-border e-commerce that I basically founded and managed, we were focusing on bringing the products to the customers in different basically regions around the world, but those customers, they cannot directly go and buy it from this site, either because that site, like imagining Amazon or eBay US, they don't ship to those countries, or the customer doesn't have the right kind of credit card or payment method. And also you have the hassle of dealing with international shipping, customs, etc., and customer service too. So kind of Nasdaq solved all those problems by kind of having a seamless experience on the site, where the customer decide which site they want to visit. They go, they select they go to this site directly. They basically add the items to their basically cart, and then pay for it, right? And then it will be delivered to them. And the payment is done in their local basically currency and local method, either like cash on delivery, which is common in some countries, or like kind of bank transfer, or even local credit card. But when we looked at our product, it was kind of, we thought it's a very successful product, especially that nobody offering the same seamless experience and automated with the same level of customer service. But we realized that we have a huge number of customers coming to the site, but none of them basically buying at the end of the day. We started with kind of trying to understand what's going on. We added a messaging basically widget on the checkout page, where we saw that the highest kind of drop of those users. And when after 5 seconds of like those customers reaching the checkout page, this widget, it will pop up and will ask the customer, do you have any questions about the pricing or the product? And there's many of those customers, they came and they wrote they replied back. They said, oh, your price is very expensive. I'm not sure if this is the right product for me. So those were the two main problems that we realized that we have to solve them. And we came up with multiple kind of solutions to solve those problems. One of them is try to educate the customer about what is the breakdown of this price that we are adding, because at the beginning it was kind of all lump sum. They see the price on Amazon for $50, and then it will end up $80 when they want to reach the checkout page. So for them, they don't have the education why this became $80. So we broke it down and how much this is cost for shipping, how much is for customs. And that by itself, just kind of adding that education, we used with that like kind of A/B testing, which is one offering with this breakdown and the second offering without this explanation. And we realized that with the explanation, we had a conversion rate increased by 30%. So this is an example of how A/B testing can be used or will be used. And this is just like kind of an example, and maybe like it sounds like more of e-commerce than SaaS, but it's really the same concept when you look at it from conversion rate. You need to look at what is the problem that customers facing, and try to come up with solutions and test different solutions to make sure that you are converting this customer. So the other thing is like kind of market only to the niche, and make sure that you are marketing to the right customers. You can easily go to Facebook make ads there and go speak with everyone, but are those people kind of your customers? Are they the one that they are basically feeling the pain of the problem that you are solving? So this is also very important to make sure that you're solving here. Also, like the custom partner with other similar businesses in same industry. And this is also kind of an important thing, in a sense that there's a barrier for the customer to make a decision and start using your product. And this barrier will go down if try to partner with other companies that they're already having those customers. So this is another way to do it, and also like other kind of marketing, maybe and like strategies and product marketing actually is like you give discounts, you give coupon codes to attract those customers to start using it, and then you can capture this customer. Also similar, like it's very common in SaaS is to kind of to offer a free trial basically account where the customers they can basically they don't get concerned about the price at this stage, but the most important thing is for them to get hands-on, start using the product and get basically the trust and the comfort level that this is the right product to use. Another way is like kind of provide use cases and case studies of your products, and this is very common in the world of B2B or business to business, where it's not, the service is not just like a straightforward. You need to understand like what is the deep dive of the problem that you are trying to solve, and is it really this is the problem that you're the customer is looking for us to solve. So with that you need to kind of to provide them, if not through like for them to do it by themselves on a free trial, but you need to show them case studies, educate them about like what are kind of these problems. One problem in my kind of current basically position that I'm working on is like we have a product for API development, and initially our business used to kind of to focus on B2B, and the focus mostly is the kind of the end customer, and sales used to be like is a very kind of having a sales force going after those customers used to be a very successful strategy. But now we are working with a totally different basically audience, where are the kind of our customers really is the developers who are gonna basically develop this or like customize this API to their customers. So you need to understand that and make sure that you are offering the right strategy for them. So this is about the conversion, and I'll be kind of conscious about the time here, so I'll move in faster, basically based on the remaining of the success criteria or like kind of metrics that we are looking at. So the second one is the customer acquisition cost, is how much basically a customer cost me to convert and become like a kind of a customer to use my product. And the main, like I say, like formulas that we can look at is how much we are spending on marketing and sales, okay, to bring these customers to my site and make sure that they are using my product. And I want to look at the kind of the dollar amount of it, I can say how much I'm spending on marketing and sales in total, and over how many customers I'm acquiring. So imagining that I'm spending per month $10,000 on marketing channels and sales channels, and I'm bringing 100 like customers. This means that each customer is going to cost me how much? $100 per acquisition. So 10,000 over 1,000. I think it's 10. Sorry, like $10 per customer. If I said like I have 1,000. So yeah, this is kind of a way to calculate it, and this is very important metrics to especially at the beginning of your business, to better understand, is this business model the right fit for you? And when, especially if you are a startup, investors, they are really focusing on this to make sure that is this product gonna bring me the right return on investment that I'm looking for. The tips that we can use for like kind of measuring the or like improving the customer acquisition cost can be like again, going back to the quality of bringing those people to your site and then converting them. So how's my basically landing page that like basically providing or talking about the messaging and the promise that I'm offering is kind of optimized? What is the mobile applications? Is the user journey bringing the customer the right basically goals that they're looking for? Is there any barriers from features perspective that stops the customers from taking it a step farther and converting to become a customer? So all of these are important metrics to look at here from product manager. The other one is increase the value you provide to users. So this is a very good strategy, especially if look at your products and say that, oh, I'm trying to spend $1,000 to bring 1,000 customers, or like $10,000 to bring 1,000 customers to my site. So what if I increase the number of features on my site? So basically, I can offer more, and I can show to the customers that I am basically providing you more comparing to the competition, right? And with that, I'm increasing the number of people who comes to my site and converting. So instead of, if I increase the value for them, this means that I'm gonna still paying the total market, but I'm bringing more customers. And in this way, you are lowering your basically customer acquisition cost. The other way is like optimize user value by implementing CRM, where you build the relationship at early stage with the customer. So customer relationship management softwares, basically they are existing for small and large businesses today, and they are widely used to make sure that you are continuously in communication with the customer to better understand their either problem, their feedback on using your product, and their need. And even if they want, like especially in B2B, if there is a need to negotiate their offerings, and maybe like they are asking for customizations against basically signing a deal with you. So all of these things are important here at this stage of the customer acquisition cost. Another perspective is the churn rate. And as I mentioned, churn rate is basically how many people leaving your pool. If we remember the kind of the fish and the pool concept, and the way to calculate it is like how many customers leaving your business, okay, over a certain amount of time, either every month or every year, or however you like the time box for you over the total amount of customers that you acquired, multiplied by 100% to to convert it to a percentage. For example, here, if you have so if you have like a customers leaving you have 3 customers left your site this month, and you have 100 customers, this means that your churn rate is 3%. And how to solve this, the problem with the churn rate? There are 3 aspects of it. The first one is, after this customer converted and became paid customer on your site, are they still getting the value that they're looking for? And here you need to look at, why the customer is leaving my site. And one way to to calculate this is maybe to do an exit interview with your customers, or try to have a survey once they leave your site. Why did they leave your site? Okay. And if there's a way to bring them back. So this is here to understand what is your site doesn't offer anymore to those customers, so that they decided to leave. The other way is there are some customers who at some point they had the need to use your site, and after a few months basically they don't see this need anymore. And here in this case you should try to engage those customers, either by continuously adding more features, or try to reminding them that we we added those new features this month. You didn't use this, you didn't use our site for a long time, and we think you are missing on these values, etc. So these are another ways you need to make sure to engage your customers over time. And the third one is you need to meet the customer expectation at the end of the day. And you need to make sure that if there is a competitor that took your customer from you, what is this competitor providing and you don't provide, and try to to build around that. So those are very important in making sure that your customers stays with you. The other one here is customer lifetime value, and this is really reflecting on what is the value of having customer on your site. What is the dollar amount that this customer also bringing to you? And it can be calculated over the common formula used is 1 over the how many customers you are losing per certain period of time, multiplied by the basically annual revenue per user, or maybe if you can change it, not really by annual but maybe monthly, etc. But at the end of the day, you are trying to to see the people who stayed with you, how much each customer basically bring to you on your site as of money. And tips to, at the end of the day, we want to kind of, as a product manager, to continuously increase this number. And some of these steps to kind of to increase this number is to encourage customers to move to annual billing. So this is a very common in SaaS, where the customers, they come and they're willing to pay maybe for 1 month, but also what takes them to kind of to pay for annually. This is dependent usually on how much the customer is needing your site, and what is their use case that make sure that they are continuously using it and engaged with your site. Maybe you can offer them discounts between monthly and annually. It's also kind of a common thing, but at the end of the day, you need to kind of to make sure that your customer is engaged, and if you can get this money a cost upfront. So this is one side. The other one is to upsell products. So especially for the kind of the customers that you know that they are kind of happy and they are settled with your product, how you can continuously upsell them by bringing them more value. One way, like also in SaaS, is kind of continuously upgrade to higher tiers, where you offer them more basically features and more users, and making sure that it's not only about you, it's about like how you are succeeding with a customer. In the sense that if your customer is a startup, they are starting with, for example, a tier for 10 users, what is required to kind of to bring this customer to start using for 100 users, right? So you make sure that you are also kind of trying to see what factors that kind of growing your customers, so you grow with them. So another perspective here is like kind of to increase repeat purchases. And this is how we look at it. Like if the customer is paying on monthly, and they are willing to pay for 5 months, what's it gonna take you to kind of make sure that they are paying for the full year, or like for 2 years, etc. So this is a very important aspect to kind of to increase the customer lifetime value. The other one is like make your product irresistible by increasing its value. And I kind of talked on this point earlier, as continuously adding features, designs, and making sure that your price is kind of like the right fit against the value that you are providing. So make sure that the customers, they have no better offering in the market than yours. So the other one is launch, adapt, improve. And one of also kind of important, I would say, a unique aspect of SaaS is you build the product once, and you are expecting to kind of repeatedly sell it to the customers. And for those customers, you want to continuously keep them engaged by offering continuously more features. And when you look at it from kind of development perspective, you need to deliver fast. You need to kind of continuously changing, adapting to the use case, and be the first in the market to adapt against that. So this is kind of pretty much kind of what we can look at the customer lifetime value. There are other tips that you can think of, but at the end of the day, it's about how much you can offer the customers so they can pay you more. Another basically success metrics that we can look at, and this is one of my favorite, is Net Promoter Score. And the main goal of the Net Promoter Score is to making sure that the customer, how much I am, or what's the risk of losing customers, and how many of my customers are basically ready to be upsell or kind of offer them more value. And how kind of Net Promoter Score usually basically implemented is you send the customer a survey where you you ask them how they are satisfied, or how much they are willing to kind of recommend your basically product to other users, and you measure it between 0 to 10. And usually you can look at it from different, I would say, kind of segments here. So if someone offer you 9 or 10 in this survey, this means those are happy customers, and this is what we call them promoters. And those people are we should kind of take advantage of having them on board in two ways. One is make sure that they are promoting us through either referrals, or basically talking about us, or like you tell them like, oh, how about we we can give you cash back, or we can give you more value against like promoting us. And those are a very, very effective way for like kind of to acquire more customers, and like lowering my customer acquisition cost. So this is kind of a very important thing. On the other side, we have what we call them the detractors, who are the people who are not really happy with my product. And those people are kind of in the segment of risking of leaving my product. And those people, I want to focus on understanding what problems they have and what it takes to kind of to keep them on board on my product. And we have the passives, the people who are not really kind of 100%. Those people, you need to understand like what it takes to kind of to move them also to promoters. Is it like kind of added feature, or is it the pricing issues? So all of these you need to understand it kind of from this perspective. And if you want to look at the net promoter score and how to you calculate it, basically you subtract the percentage of promoters, which is this segment, minus the detractors, the people who are unhappy. And this can give you like how good your product from promoting perspective. That's pretty much what I want to to say here about those like kind of 5 main success metrics for SaaS, and how as a product managers can improve these I'll say like kind of aspects of the SaaS product, which they are again like kind of the conversion rate, customer acquisition cost, customer lifetime value, and net promoter score, and the churn rate. So thanks again for being here in this, and listening to kind of the very long narrative about the SaaS success criteria. So thanks. And yeah, I'll open it here to take it back to Sangeeta for Q&A session. Sangeeta, are you there?
Oh,
Yes,
hi, Nelson. Yeah. Yep. Just give me a minute.
Sure.
Okay. So thanks a lot, Mustafa. That entire webinar was very insightful. I personally got to learn a lot of things, and I'm pretty sure that all of our viewers got to learn a lot of things from this information-packed webinar, right? So let's go over to the questions. I do see that a lot of people have asked some really insightful questions. So let's start with the question posted by, let me see, Soyab Buddy. Okay. So Soyab asks that if cost of acquisition is high, but cost of conversion is low, what should he interpret as a product manager?
Right. So if I would say like they are connected here, right? So basically your customer acquisition cost is how many basically how much you are basically paying to bring those customers to your site, and then including conversion, right? And then how many of those people converted to become customers. So I would say they are kind of dependent in the like kind of formula perspective, because if your conversion rate is bad, this means that your cost of acquisition is going to be high, right? So they are dependent here in this case. But I would say like kind of the cost acquisition is dependent on the conversion rate. So so if my conversion rate is low, this means that always I need to kind of to consider like a higher kind of acquisition cost here. I'm gonna pay more dollar amount to convert a customer on my site. And I would say in this case, as a product manager, you need first thing to look at, why I am not converting. Like, why those customers are coming to my site and they are not basically buying my product. And here, like either because first they are not the right customer, okay, and here really you need to look at, from marketing perspective, are the marketing team bringing me the quality of users that I'm looking for. So here you have to have a conversation with the marketing team probably. The second thing is like, okay, if I'm targeting the right customer, okay, am I providing the right solution for them? I am solving the problem that they're looking for. And here, like, I need to look at mostly like kind of a discovery sessions. If I am not really those customers, I'm not targeting them with the right basically solution, then what are they looking for? And here is kind of the outcome might be pivoting to your product to kind of to address those the customer, like kind of the what customers are looking for. The third thing maybe like if it's not about customers, maybe about kind of the barriers within the journey of the user on my site. So a very common thing is like, okay, I'm bringing a customers and I'm telling them I'm solving their problems and I really have the features, but it can be as simple as they are not able to kind of to sign up correctly, or they are not basically able to complete the payments because their payment card is not working or something like that. So there are multiple areas within the user journey that you can look at to make sure that the user is kind of converting correctly. But to sum it up here, as the conversion rate is or like customer acquisition cost is dependent on conversion rate. If I have a bad conversion rate, this means I have a higher cost of acquisition, and vice versa. So I hope this answers the question. I think maybe Nielsen dropped.
I'm so sorry, guys. I just lost my power right here, but I'm back. So sorry about that. Cool.
No worries.
Cool. So let's move on to the next question that we have. Okay, so I think this is an interesting question right here. Why SaaS has overpowered PaaS, and any insights on that? First of all, do you agree that SaaS has overpowered PaaS or not? And then we can maybe take this question forward, right?
Sure. So it's definitely like the demand for SaaS is way higher than PaaS. And but I still we can look at them as a two different kind of offerings, because the difference between PaaS or platform as a service is, I am gonna give you the infrastructure, but you have to manage the storage. You have to build your own kind of products on this kind of platform, right? Versus SaaS is what I'm offering here is, the solutions is developed, everything is available, and all what you have to do is plug and play. You just basically have to connect through a browser to my site and to use kind of the software that I need to use. So those are kind of two different say like offerings that targeting two different customer bases. But if we look at the market, like the amount of people who doesn't want to deal with either basically managing storage or like dealing with building software, okay, is way higher than the people who are kind of have qualified to build these softwares and have the capabilities to manage the PaaS. So this is in my mind like kind of the why SaaS is has way higher demand than PaaS here in this case.
That was very insightful. Thank you, Mustafa, for that answer. Okay, I think this question is a bit interesting. The question is by Rohit Kumar. So, like, just summing up, like, what are the couple of key customer acquisition strategies? I know you went very much detailed in your entire talk, but just to sum it up in a line or two, what would you like to say?
So customer acquisition strategy, it's really about basically do you have the right customer? Are you solving the right problem to this customer? And is the customer happy with the solution that you provided against the value that you're asking for? So if I kind of basically target these three questions, I will be able to kind of to have a like a kind of a successful customer acquisition strategy. This is the short of it. If to your question, that's it.
That's great, Mustafa. Okay, so I think we can take the final question of the day. What has been your biggest challenge as a product manager?
Oh, this is very interesting question. There are definitely like product management is a very interesting position. It's not something that educated in universities as a kind of programs or degrees, and it's a kind of it's you're relying in so many kind of I would say like acquired skills and education to become a product manager and to manage. I would say like kind of my biggest challenge so far is in the large organizations, and I'm differentiating here between startups and like largers because each stage of the business has a kind of different challenges. But always kind of the biggest challenge that I have faced is kind of aligning stakeholders from different departments around like the goals that we want to achieve, and basically aligning around the KPIs or key performance indicators that we are looking at. So this is a key, and it takes a lot of efforts and conversations to kind of to manage that aspect of the product management side. And this is definitely, it reflects on like how successful are you as a product manager by aligning the right partnership to kind of to drive the right kind of efforts to achieve the customer goals at the end of the day. So yeah, if I want to kind of conclude it, it's really about aligning stakeholders, especially that you are leading people without authority. You are working very cross-functionally between engineering, sales, marketing, and other departments. And in my case, I also deal with architecture, with operations, with so many within those large organizations. So yeah, I would say that this is like kind of the most challenging piece of it.
Awesome. Thank you, Mustafa. Nelson, do you have any other question?
I think those were the questions that we got. So yeah, that's it.
Perfect. And we are also on top of time. Mustafa, thank you so much for taking this time and sharing some great insights. I think, as Nelson was saying, we are also a startup, and a lot of things that you were saying, I was pinging Nelson on the side, like, hey, we should also take care of these things, make sure we are managing and looking into these metrics. So it was really very helpful to hear all the key insights. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks so much, and thanks for having me. Looking forward, like to work with you again.
Sure. Thanks.
Thanks.